Alright, so hello everyone in the chat. Welcome to another game. But this time we have something completely and utterly different from what we normally see. For a start, it is not a 1v1. I know, shock horror. Absolutely amazingly kind of different here, which is always going to be fun. It's not a. It was funny. As soon as I said that, I heard the owl going woo 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 woo, and I thought it was someone saying woo, not a 1v1. But no, it's not a 1v1, which is always kind of interesting because normally I do cast 1v1s just because they are nice and simple to cast. And further than that, or even more than that, it's not a 1v1. No, it's also not Arabia, which makes it kind of interesting. The map, I believe, is rivers. I'll just quickly double check that. Oh, wow. Yep, okay. I don't speak Spanish. I don't know what that is. Um, it almost looks like rivers, though. I think. I mean, there's rivers. Maybe it's not rivers. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, it's some sort of interesting-looking map that looks like rivers. Maybe I'm not entirely sure. If anyone speaks Spanish and could see what the map was, that would be fantastic. I think it might actually be full random, but I'm not entirely sure. I think that was the settings that they put it on. But again, my spectator dashboard's sort of bugging out, so I'm not going to be able to tell you straight away what the map is. But anyway, we'll have a quick look at the players. We've already kind of discussed that I don't know what the map is, but it's going to make it kind of interesting as well. It means that there's quite a lot of stuff that we can talk about, quite a lot of different stuff that we can talk about. So have a quick look at the players, and up here toward the in the northwest of the map, playing in the grey, we have Aramis Arg, and I imagine the RG, the bit on the end of his name there, stands for Argentina, considering he does have the Argentinian flag next to his name. And he's playing as the Britons today. His teammate playing pretty much directly across from him even, playing in the oh, okay, so the ratings are popped up, so that's nice. Maybe that means that the map type will also have popped up soon. Playing in the green is 77 even. Maxi playing in the green, and he's playing as the Chinese today. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how that one goes as well. Chinese, very, very interesting civ to try and start off with, purely because they start off with 6 villages, minus 50 wood, and minus 200 food, as opposed to everyone else. Thank you, Pyro. As opposed to most of the other civilizations. So that makes up the team toward the north of the map here, I guess you could say. Their opponents today, one of their opponents, the opponent that 77 Maxi is going to be facing off against, is the one, the only TyRanT Slam. And I definitely don't fancy. Oh, okay, I don't want to say I don't fancy that, but I definitely wouldn't want to be squaring off against TyRanT Slam, especially since Slam is, you know, arguably the best player in the world at the moment. Although that isn't 1v1s, this is a team game. Obviously, because they're on teams. So it could be kind of interesting to see how Slam goes in a team game situation, in a team game scenario. But he's playing down to the pretty much the south of the map, and he's playing as the Britons today, with his teammate, the gentleman that we saw in the last game, playing in the blue, playing as the Chinese, is Ink, and he's playing to, I guess you could say, the west of the map here. So we have an interesting mix-up of civilizations here. We've got 2 archer civs, and it is a mirror matchup, and it is on this kind of full, random, interesting-looking map. Now, one thing to note about this map as well is that it does have quite a lot of water, which is what led me to believe. I mean, obviously, you can see that it's got all these pretty little rivers and all that kind of good stuff. Which kind of led me to believe that it might have been rivers. My map knowledge outside of like Arabia and stuff like that isn't great, to be honest with you. But this one could very well be rivers. And the fact that there is quite a lot of water here means that water control is definitely going to be something that these players are not going to be wanting to kind of turn their backs on, I guess you could say. Both of these civilizations, the Britons and the Chinese, you know, they're pretty stock standard when it comes to water civilizations. Nothing for either civ really stands out too much, I guess you could say, in terms of water. You know, it's not, neither of them are the Vikings, for example. But both of them being archer civilizations means that they're going to be able to get all those upgrades going up to going up to Bracer and all that kind of stuff. So we will be seeing we will be seeing players dock. We've just heard the dock going up for ink somewhere. Yep, there we go. So we have a sort of back dock location as well, I guess you could say. And that's the other interesting thing, right? We know, you know, like ink knows where Slam is. Slam's over here, so he knows that his opponents are going to be up over here and up over here somewhere. So the dock locations for each player kind of maybe tells us a little bit about what they're going to be doing, or what kind of strategy they're going to be going for here. You can see that Aramis up here, the grey player, has has gone ahead and put up the has put up his dock on the front of his in the front sort of location of his base, which ordinarily in a normal water map kind of says that you're looking to get a little bit more aggressive. You're looking to go ahead and rush
Yes.
and try and take out your opponent if you can, you know,
Wood,
if you can
please.
start to get that,
What age are you in?
if you can go ahead and do that. Um, Whereas, you know, for the other players, there's a bit of a for Ink down here, he's got his dot closer to his opponent's his ally even, his ally Slam here, which almost says to me that he's not looking to get up ahead, get up to the feudal age quickly and go ahead and do a grush, especially considering he's nice and safe, relatively speaking, at the back of his base. So any galleys, any war galleys are going to have to come out from Aramis here are going to have to come all the way around the back, and that's just going to be quite easily defensible for Ink here. We can see the same sort of thing coming up from Maxi here as well. He's gone ahead and he's got a really nice dock location. Of course, that is because of the fact that he has spawned right next to this sort of strip of water here. Him and Slam have both spawned right next to the strip of water. Um, as you can see, there's a lot of big fish out here, and it's pretty even. It's pretty fair because one player from each team has gone ahead and spawned on this sort of edge of the map here, where there's a lot of big fish and a lot of water. So that's all well and good. There's nothing too unfair or unadventurous for each player for each team there. And we can see Aramis clicked up to the feudal age as well. He's about halfway up to the feudal age. Slam going up just now as well, and the other two players not having done anything so far. Slam moving all of his villages essentially. Oh, okay, so I thought that Slam might be going ahead and going to do a sort of water build here as the Brits, but it doesn't look like he's gone ahead and done that. He's adding in a lot more fishing ships than you'd normally see for a pure water build, which is 4. He hasn't gone ahead and chucked up another dock. He's chucking up a barracks. He's chucking up a barracks here, so it looks like he's going to be, you know, maybe content with making a few galleys here just to try and get a little bit of water control. Just because, you know, water control on this map, it's going to be pretty important because you're going to be able to, you're going to be able to lock down these shallows that are around the map as well, which means that it's going to stop your opponent crossing and getting into your economy. It's just going to make it that little bit easier for you to kind of dictate how the map is or how the game's going to be played out here. So Slam, he might be tempted just to make a couple of galleys and just try and protect his fishing ships, while focusing more on the land, because as we know, those British archers are just so strong, and you can see a fast castle is actually coming in here for Slam. So Ink has clicked up to the feudal age now as well. A little bit of aggression with the 2 scouts down here, and he's lost that scout, but Aramis in the feudal age getting that +2 on the scout just a little bit before Ink, so Ink's scout going down pretty effective or pretty quickly there. Not much else going on at the moment. It looks like it could just be fast castles all around. In saying that though, Aramis, what is Aramis doing? Our grey player, he doesn't have the food to be going up to... He doesn't have the food to be clicking up or anything like that. I'm not entirely sure what he's doing. Ah, there we go. He's over here. He's gone ahead and he's put up 2 archery ranges as the Britons. So he's looking to get aggressive on his Chinese counterpart here. And, yeah, sorry, Pyro. The game started really quickly, and I was about to reply to you, and then it didn't happen. But we can see that Aramis here has gone up and he's chucked up 2 archery ranges as the Britons. He's going to be getting that 20% faster archer production out of these 2 ranges, and he's going to try and pressure Ink here if he can. We can see that Slam is clicked up to the castle age, while no one else has. So what is Maxi doing then at the moment? Well, he has a lot of resources in the bank. He can click up to the castle age. He's got his smith up, he's got his stable up, and he should be clicking up now as well. He hasn't gone ahead and done it yet. There we go. Okay, so he's clicked up now, but he's quite a way behind Slam. which is quite interesting. Slam chucking up a couple of ranges here as well. Has he made any galleys? That is the other question. It doesn't look like Slam's made any galleys, so he's pretty content just to kind of sit back. You know, his fish, I guess you could say, have done the job at the moment, and the longer he keeps these alive at the moment, the better off he's going to be. But Aramis looks like he's going back. He's found that his opponent's, you know, pretty well walled up, and these archers, well, it was a good idea to go forward and get a little bit aggressive on his opponent here. These archers haven't really been able to do much, to be honest. Yeah, you can say that Ink has gone ahead and said, mine's tried to forward me. Yeah, nothing much has really happened. So what Aramis should be focusing on doing now is trying to get up to the castle age as quickly as he can. And apparently he's walling him in. Oh, yeah, okay. He's doing a little bit of a wall off on Ink here. He's trying to wall his opponent in, which is, yeah, you know, it's interesting. But a transport ship coming out, and this is the interesting thing as well. If you get water control, then it doesn't matter if your opponent's wall, because you can just transport your ships around. But I think Ink has kind of cottoned on to the fact that that might be happening. He's got a galley out here as well, so at least he's got a little bit of water presence, and he knows he's going to know what's coming, or what's coming for him if his opponent does decide to do any kind of funky or any funny business. So 2 town centers coming up for Slam, who has reached the castle age right now. He's getting out a couple of, he's got out quite a few archers now, and he's also going for a bit of a transport ship. You can see that his opponent's walled up across here, but this thing here is, yep, no, nothing going on there. So it's going to be pretty easy for him to just pop his archers over. He's going to get a villager pick right there. I'm going to turn the game sounds down real quick again, just because it sounds awfully loud, and we don't like that. There we go, nice and good. Crossbow done for Slam now as well. Bodkin arrow, not quite done yet, I don't think. But we can see that the Chinese player here, Maxi, is going full knights, and that sort of makes sense as well. The Chinese do get fully upgraded knights in the Castle Age. So certainly a viable option. And Sam just picking down this archer, this palisade wall here, and seeing what damage he can do to his opponent Maxi, seeing what harassment he can do here. On the other side of the map, though, meanwhile, we still have Aramis kind of poking and prodding, seeing what damage he can do, or seeing if he can do any damage, in fact, to his opponent Ink here. He's continuing this cheeky wee wall off that we see. Yeah, Marasma. I don't know what that is. Maybe it is. Maybe it is Saltmarsh. I'm not entirely sure. Saltmarsh is normally really unfair towards one team, which is why I didn't really think this was kind of unfair towards one team or the other. But maybe it is Saltmarsh. I'm not entirely sure. Marisma maybe kind of indicates that it's Saltmarsh, but again, I don't really know, to be honest with you. But a little bit of a scuffle coming over here between Slam's crossbows and the Knights of 77 Maxi, and the Knight's going to be able to pretty easily clean that up. Ink nearly up to the castle age, hit the castle age now, so it'll be interesting to see if he does decide to go ahead and upgrade these skirms to Elite Skirmisher. Not really too much point, because he can go ahead and clean this army of archers up pretty easily anyway, if he does find them in the corner there. Aramis, the only one left in the feudal age now, although in saying that, he is nearly up to the castle age. He's going to be able to upgrade these crossbows, go ahead, upgrade these archers to crossbow, go ahead and get that nice and juicy British crossbows pumping, and start using that extra range to try and pick off some of his opponent's villages, and see what harassment he can do. In the meantime, Slam being greedy here. Slam's going ahead and chucking up his 4th town centre, and I guess as the British, it doesn't make, it makes a little bit of sense because the Britons get such cheap TCs. But Aramis also asking to X Slam as well. So it looks like these, it looks like the team toward the north of the map is going to try and be focusing down on Slam, and I suppose that kind of makes sense. The more you can kind of put your opponent, the stronger of your opponents out of the game, the better. But in saying that, there has to be a little bit of a balance here, because if you do let Ink go, if you let Ink go unchecked and untabbed, he's going to be able to come out and bite you right back in the butt as well. Forward Siege Workshop coming up here from the Chinese player Maxi, just to continue trying to put that pressure on Slam here. You can see the upgrades on the Knights, chain barding armor and forging has been done. So these Knights definitely going to be able to stand up to a lot of damage, or take a lot more damage, a lot more arrow fire from these town centers, from these British crossbows from Slam as well. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this one plays out. Back at home for Aramis, I believe there's only 1 town centre. Oh no, 2 town centres for the for this British player over here for the team on the north. How many town centres are up for Maxi? It looks like only 2 town centres for Maxi as well, as whereas we know that Slam is up to 4, the cheeky wee devil, and his ally looks like he's getting another town centre up here. So he's a little bit late to the party. Is old Ink? He's a little bit late getting his extra town centres up, but you know. So long as he can hold, as long as Slam can hold out here against the double pressure from the team in the north here, then Ink can kind of go unchecked, get his boom on a little bit, and you know start to apply pressure to his opponent as well, which it looks like is what he's going to be doing here. Pushing out with some cavalry archers. Sorry, I got Huns on the mind. Pushing out with some crossbows here, some Chinese crossbows. Going to be able to clean up this wee army here from his opponent Aramis here, and it's going to be interesting to see how that goes down. Meanwhile, over on the east of the map, just continuous raiding from the Chinese player RG Maxi here on Slam. Although he is fighting underneath 3 town centres at the moment. The town centres obviously have Bodkin Arrow as well, and under fire from a lot of these archers here. So it's probably not the most clever, not the cleverest move in the world from him there. Ink managing to clean up this army back at the sort of the west of the map from Aramis here, so he's going to be nice and safe for the time being. He could come along, he could wall up these archery ranges too if he really wanted to, and just negate any sort of pressure or any sort of engagements that could be coming out of there. But for the time being, Ink is definitely looking to be in a better position over Aramis here, and Slam is defending completely and utterly fine against the knights from 77 Maxi here also. Water control, I mean, it hasn't played as much kind of as big a part as I would have initially thought. Although on this western side, it certainly does look like it's a lot more of an intense sort of battle, I guess you could say, relative to the eastern side. And that's purely because, you know, there's actually warships and stuff out here. We can see a couple of fire ships and a demolition ship. Anything gonna happen? Come on. Ah, no! Aramis could be getting a huge hit here, but he isn't focusing them down, and that's done absolutely nothing. That fire ship's still withstanding that demolition ship fire. And, you know, that's what I was saying, right? If you get water control, then you can start bringing out those cheeky demolition ships there, like we just saw from Aramis. Is he going to bring out another one? No. Okay, so it's not another demolition ship coming in here. But you can also, if you have water control, start to pick down these palisade walls that your opponents have walled up with. And it's just going to make it that much easier for you to try and bust in. And here we go, anchors into the economy here of Aramis. It's going to be interesting to see if he can get any sort of villager picks, do any sort of economic harassment. There is a mangonel out in defense for Aramis, so with a couple of good mangonel shots, this crossbow army here from the Chinese player from Ink is going to be cleaned up pretty simply. You know, still not much going on over here. Looks like Ink's just going to start running away very, very quickly away from that mangonel. Whereas, wow, down on the south of the map, Slam is under a little bit of fire from his opposition here. There are a lot of Chinese knights coming in here as well. No +2 attack done, but there's siege to back it up. And this is what's going to be really, really interesting, especially since this town centre is going down. But I mean, while these crossbows could definitely stand up to a lot of fire from the knights, or rather these crossbows could definitely do a lot of damage to these knights. Against siege, crossbows just do not fare well at all, which I guess is why Slam went ahead and made this stable over here to try and get some knights out and try and go ahead and take care of the siege if he can. He's already lost 1 town centre, so that's his villager production going to be cut just that little bit. And saying that though, that extra town centre over the other players did definitely pay off for him, because he is quite a few villages ahead. He's at least 13 villages ahead of all of his opponents here. But like I said, these mangonels in this siege not really going to be doing too much. The crossbows even aren't going to be doing too much damage against them. But in saying that, Slam has put up a really, really good defense here, and he's managed to clear out the rest of the siege. He's managed to clear out the knights with a little bit of help from a couple of monks and a couple of knights of his own. And these crossbows here are just really going to be starting to lay down the damage on these knights. And this is really, really nice aggressive play from Maxi. You can see he's putting up another stable here as well, trying to continually keep that pressure on Slam if he can, which is definitely a good way to go, because if you're playing against one of the best players in the world, you want to try and keep him on the back foot. You want to be trying to keep forcing you want to try and force him to make the units that you want him to make, I guess you could say. And getting the Britons to make knights, they don't have the worst knights in the world, but they do lack bloodlines, so they're not going to be able to stand up to as much of a battering, I guess you could say, from the knights of the Chinese player Maxi here. And it looks like there's still going to be a little bit. This could be a huge hit. Oh my god, that was huge. That mangonel shot has taken out a good 10 to 12 archers there from Slam. That was a gigantic shot. But at the same time, Slam did manage to get this castle up, which is certainly going to help defend against the mangonels. The mangonels are not going to be able to push in past, in any sort of a range around this area here. So it's going to keep his crossbows nice and safe if he does decide to bring out crossbows and park them here or anything like that. And it's also going to help to defend against any knights that are running through his economy. Although in saying that, it certainly doesn't look like murder holes has been done, so the knights staying at the base of this castle are definitely going to be able to start taking down the hit points for Slam. Or on Slam's castle even. Up toward the north of the map, it looks like Ink is still, he's still trying to apply a little bit of pressure to his opponent here, but not much really has been done. He's put up a forward siege workshop, probably to try and deal with this mangonel of his own, because trying to micro crossbows against mangonels is, it's not impossible, sure, but it's a lot easier if you can get your mangonel of your own out to try and take down the mangonel of your opponent. Purely because if you are, if your opponent's got mangonels out, you want to try and match him if you can, because fighting against outnumbered when you're outnumbered in terms of mangonels is just so difficult. But he's doing well here. He's managing to keep both of his. As soon as I say that, he stops. But Ink was. Oh no, not again. Oh, another big hit here. Ink needs to wake up a little bit because 4 or 5 archers or crossbows have gone down there for nothing. But he is doing a little bit of harassment here to Aramis, which is good. At the very least, he's keeping Aramis locked up in his base, which means that he's free-ish to kind of boom back at home. Free of economic harassment. And this is the thing as well, right? Oh, I was going to say, okay, there is a little bit of a way into Ink's base down through here, down through these sort of shallows here. But that's the only way that he can go, because the water control is firmly in favor of Ink here on this on this side here. He's going ahead and dropping a forward castle as well, just to continually try and pressure his opponent if he can. But Slam, up to the Imperial Age. Slam has advanced to the Imperial Age, so we're going to be seeing something. We're going to be seeing a lot of pikes coming out, probably, yeah, so we got pikes coming out already for Slam. Maybe going to be upgrading to Halberdier. Sorry, yeah, no, sorry, never mind. Another town centre going down for Slam, though, and Slam kind of looks like he's on the back foot. I wish I could speak Spanish, purely because it'd be so much easier to see what they're actually saying about Slam there. But a lot of pikes coming out here for Slam, and these pikes are going to be able to deal with the rams, and they're going to be able to deal with the knights a lot more effectively than the crossbows seem to be doing. That castle there, we missed that. I apologize, but that castle there did manage to go down for Slam. So huge train of rams, Chinese rams from Maxi. Clearly managed to take that down, and Slam, even though he's in the Imperial Age, certainly does look to be on the back foot here. And Maxi, is he up to the Imperial Age? Maxi's not up to the Imperial Age. He's nowhere near, in fact. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because he's gone ahead and he's sunk a lot of resources into this forward. He's sunk a lot of resources into siege, into knights, and now making that switch into archers, into crossbows as well, just so he can deal with these pikes from Slam, because the pikes are certainly going to start chewing. The pikes are chewing through these knights really cost effectively for Slam at this stage in the game as well. So Slam's back on 2 TCs. He was on 4, and I guess he paid for that greediness when the huge ram and siege and knight train kind of came through from Maxi here. But 3 players up into the Imperial Age now. This forward castle from Ink is being, it's being supplemented by another forward castle, so that's coming in from Ink right now. Are we going to be seeing, a Treb coming right out? We're not seeing any other sort of upgrade or anything else coming in from the castle. No Arbalest or anything like that coming in from Ink. And this is the thing, right? The Chinese can obviously go for the Chuko Nu, but they are just so hard to try and mess up. Purely because you do need a lot of castles up. So generally, this is cool. So generally going for Arbalest is probably a better kind of route to go down if you're playing as the Chinese. Is this another castle? Another castle. So it looks like it's just going to be a huge kind of castle push from Ink onto Aramis here, and a couple of Chuko Nus coming out just to try and supplement this archer army for for Ink, which is quite interesting to see. So I guess in this respect, in this time, it's sort of a base race situation, I guess you could say. It's going to come down to whether Slam can kind of hold out against this forward aggression, this really, really heavily aggressive play here from Maxi, in time for Ink to push in against his opponent. You can see chemistry's been done for these crossbows as well. Like I said, a couple of Chuko popped out, no Arbalest coming in, but a lot of Chucks coming out for Ink here as well. And he's put up another mining camp on the stone here, which tells me there's probably going to be looking to get up a lot more castles if he can. Elite skirmishes coming in here as well, and for Aramis, and while those elite skirmishes are going to be able to do so well against the crossbows, against the Chuko once the Chuko are massed up and all that kind of good stuff, you know, fully upgraded, elite skirmishes not going to stand up to anything at all, especially since the Chuko do manage to fire 5 arrows at a time once they're upgraded to elite. So over over on the east of the map, Slam's still doing really, really well holding out against this heavily aggressive play from his opponent, Maxi here. He's managed to get up a 3rd town centre, or get back up a 3rd town centre. I guess this is his 5th one overall. In the back of his economy here, and this sort of battlefront at the front here, it's just a lot of units going down and a lot of units dying. A couple of longbows coming out for Slam as well, which tells me that he's got a castle up, or maybe they were just left over from when he did have a castle up. But yeah, he's managing to hold out pretty well, and I guess the good thing is, right, the good thing from Maxi here is that he's denying this gold, and he's kinda, I was going to say he would be denying the stone, but I guess Slam's still managing to take that stone. But Maxi is managing to deny this gold from Slam. And does Slam have any other gold mines anywhere inside his base? Well, he's got this one over here, which he's moving in to take, but we can see a forward castle coming in from Maxi here, and even though he is still in the castle age, and I don't believe he's clicked up to the Imperial, nope, he's nowhere near the Imperial age in terms of gold, he's still keeping the pressure on Slam, which is really, really good. This forward castle from Maxi is going to be able to zone Slam off this stone. It's going to be able to definitely zone Slam off of this gold. It's also going to be able to deny this wood should Slam for some reason want to take it. But Slam realizes the situation and he's going ahead and he's made 1 ram inside this inside the siege workshop. 1 ram probably not going to be enough to try and take down this castle, but this is the thing. Slam, even though he's got the tech advantage, even though he's got the Imperial Age upgrade, once this castle goes up, Slam's going to be quite hard pressed to try and go ahead and push this back. But in saying that, if Slam does manage to push all this forward aggression from Maxi here back, then it's going to be their team's going to be in a really, really good position, especially with Ink managing to push in really, really strongly on this north side here. A lot of Chuko news coming out now as well. You can see that chemistry has been done. No bracer coming in yet for the Chucks. But chemistry's been done. This just line of trebs and this line of trebuchets, this line of archer units here, just absolutely mowing through the elite skirmishers from Aramis here, and another castle. So that's the 4th castle coming up in the economy of Aramis here from Ink, which is going to make it really, really hard for Aramis to try and defend against this. He does have his own castle up. I thought he had another one as well somewhere, but he obviously doesn't. He's got 1 castle up, which is where he managed to get this treb, which got sniped pretty quickly by the trebs of Ink. Get this treb out. But it looks like he's maybe denying this castle for the time being. Aramis needs to focus down this villager, and he's managed to do it now. But these trebs from the back from Ink, just laying so much damage down onto these elite skirmishers, which is quite a funny thing to say as well. Capped ram having been done for Aramis here as well, just to try and give himself a little bit more of an edge when it comes to taking down any sort of forward aggression, any sorts of castles from his opponent here. And the other thing that it's going to be able to do as well is that capped rams are going to be able to soak up a lot of that arrow fire from his opponent's archer units, whilst he can lay down the damage from behind with his own archer units, or in this case, skirmishes, which aren't so great in my opinion. Great for defensive play, but once once Arbalest and once the Chuko news start getting messed up, the skirmishes, the elite skirmishes, even the siege coming in from the British play here, they're just going to get chewed up and spat back out so quickly. Meanwhile, down on the south of the map, the stalemate continues, I guess you could say, between Slam and Maxi. Slam putting up a kind of, a cheeky, a cute wee watchtower here as well, just trying to defend his economy just that little bit more. from the cavalry, which is quite interesting from the incoming cavalry from Maxi. You can see that capped ram has been done for Slam as well. So hopefully these rams are going to be able to get in, surround this castle for Maxi, and be able to take that down. And once this castle goes down, it's by no means the end of this sort of this forward aggression from Maxi. But it's certainly going to be a lot easier for Slam to push in, especially now that Halberdier is done. And Maxi, he's done well. This forward aggression is fantastic in my opinion. I really, really love it because it's not something that I expected to see, and it's really, really fun to see it. But the fact of the matter is, right, the fact is that that Maxi's going ahead and he's chucking out a whole lot of cavalry units, and Halberdier are just going to absolutely chew through those chew through the cavalry units. These knights are just going to melt away in the face of these halberdiers. These really pointy spikes and spears just going to be going right into the stomachs of the poor little ponies, and they're going to be falling very, very quickly. Maxi here, though, focusing down these capped rams. But, you know, 2 siege workshops working overtime for Slam here. He's defended really, really well, and he's managing to push this forward aggression back really, really well for the time being as well. Maxi here mixing in some elite skirmishes just to try and deal with these halberdier. And, you know, elite skirmishes aren't the dumbest idea in the world because they do get attack bonuses against the spearman line. But we just got this many halberdier and this many cat rams coming through from the British player Slam. It looks like this forward aggression from Maxi is going to be cleared up, and Slam's defended really, really well, which gave Ink sort of, you know, it meant that Ink didn't have to bring in any army from his own sort of forward aggression on his opponent Aramis over to help Slam, which has left Ink free to go ahead and start gutting, absolutely gutting the economy here of Aramis. This whole kind of area here, the central area for Aramis's economy that once was, you know, stood tall and stood strong and proud, is no longer anything, which is kind of unfortunate. A few light calves being mixed in here as well for the Chinese player on the team on the south. Just to deal with these elite skirmishes a little bit more effectively, I guess, than the Chuko Nu can as well. It's worth noting that the Chinese do not get Hussar, so this is as far as they're going to get in terms of upgrading down the stable sort of route here. Those Trebs deploying on nothing, or unpacking on nothing. I guess they started attacking the elite skirmishes, but nothing really interesting happened there. In terms of villages, though, it's really, really interesting to note that in terms of villages, the team on the north is actually in the lead. Overall, Ink has 74 villages, Slam on about 90, whereas the other 2 players, the grey player Aramis and the green player up over here Maxi, the 2 Argentinian players are both up above 100 villages. So economically speaking, we'd expect that that the team on the north here has the advantage. But in saying that, Aramis asking for food, and his Aramis is asking for food, and the Chinese player Maxi over here is saying, "Nah, I got none. Sorry, mate, you're on your own." And I guess that kind of makes sense because there's not a lot of food income actually here as well for yeah, there's not a lot of farms coming up over here for Maxi, which is quite interesting. He did manage to sustain night production out of quite a few stables, but Slam just mounting an impeccable defense. He's cleared out this forward aggression, and that just means with his opponent still in the castle age, Slam's going to be able to just continually push this back. Until he just wins the game. But a little bit of a defense being mounted up here as well toward the north of the map. This Treb being rushed down by the Ram, and obviously Rams just do a really, really good job at taking down the Trebs, and a little bit of Treb on Treb action here also. Yeah, Ink's going to want to get that Treb out of there as soon as he can because they're so expensive. 200 gold, 200 wood a pop, and some elite longbows? Yeah, just some longbows coming out here as well for the British player on the north, for the team on the north of the map. So he's mounting a really, really good defense as well here. He's managed to sort of halt this forward aggression from Ink for the time being, which is really, really good for him. Because even though Slam is managing to push in here as well, he's, like I said, he's cleared out this forward aggression from Maxi, and he's looking to mount some sort of counter-offensive sort of deal on his opponent here. He's not going to be met with nothing. He's going to be met with a siege workshop soon, a couple of stables, a couple of castles, a couple of archery ranges from Maxi. And Maxi at this point in time, he can't afford to go up to the Imperial Age if he hasn't already. In saying that, he is up to the Imperial Age. Okay, so it looks like Maxi's just trying to bide a little bit of time to get up to the Imperial Age, to at least get that sort of a sort of technology on even footing between him and his opponent Slam. But in saying that, Aramis up here on the north of the map, he's mounted, like I said, really, really good defense here. He's got an interesting mix of units. These elite skirmishers going to be able to pack a little bit of damage against the Chuko Nu, and these elite longbows are going to be able to start picking off these light calves from just so far away, whilst the trebs even start focusing down the castles here. And there goes one castle from Ink, and you know Ink's going for Chuko Nu at the moment, not upgraded to elite or anything like that. But you need castles, right? You need castles to make Chuko Nu. And if he's getting his forward castles taken out, then that's going to be really, really hard for him to keep his his military production up. But a nice little skirmish coming in here. A treb's being taken down. A treb for a treb. Actually, in saying that, Ink didn't lose a treb, so a treb for no treb, I guess you could say. But those light calves certainly doing the work, getting in there, providing a little bit of a meat shield, I guess you could say, for the Chuko Nu sitting in the back here, and also managing to take down a lot of elite skirmishers here for Aramis as well. Aramis bringing in some capped ram here, which is not going to make it, unfortunately. It's going to get taken down very, very quickly. By the light cav and by the rams here from Ink. And wow, Slam. This is what, okay, so we've missed this completely, but Slam putting up, wow, an metric SHIT ton of of docks, and he's gone ahead and he's upgraded to Galleon, and this is going to be so good for him as well, because Maxi, he's in the Imperial Age, he's going ahead, he's making some Chuko Nu as well, but Slam is going to have water control, he's going to be able to lay down so much damage on these land units, and boats, or, you know, water units, navy, military, just do so much damage against land units. You can see that this sort of pathetic, this measly, this meager army of Chuko Nu and elite skirmishers here for Maxi are just going to get taken down so quickly by the galleons of Slam. You can see that, there's even a little bit of a, I think there was a Chuko Nu messed up in here somewhere, but he's probably dead now anyway. You can see the brace has been done for Slam as well, which is all well and good. It's going to give him that little bit of extra range, a little bit of extra firepower to be able to take down those land units just that little bit easier as well. Although Maxi doing the right thing, doing the smart thing, bringing in some rams here to try and soak up some of the arrow fire, I guess you could say, or the galleon fire. And siege ram also having been completed, which means they're just going to be able to do that job that little bit easier. Which means that, I don't know, I guess that these land units are going to die a lot less quickly. But I mean, there's just no way that there's going to be, there's no way that these units from Maxi are going to be able to cross these shallows to get into Slam's base. Purely because these units, these boats, this navy from Slam is just being so strong. And at the same time, Ink is managing to hold his position, sort of, on the north of the map. He's getting pushed back just a little bit, but he's still managing to hold it, he's still managing to do it, and he's continually trying to make a bit of a push here against his opponent, Ink here. But Ink, he's doing well. I mean, all he needs to do, potentially, is just mix in a few more light cav, just to get in here and try and take out some of these trebs, which is what he's doing here as well. Take out these elite skirmishers, get some rams in front of these longbows here, and really get these elite longbows down, whilst bringing in more siege to take down the castles of Aramis. And while that's all well and good, that's nice and easy to say, it's really hard to do that, you know, when you're in the game. And he's doing a really good job at it at the moment. Ink is, but yeah, I mean, at this stage, it looks like the game is certainly really strongly in favor of Slam and Ink. Slam just managing to defend really well at the beginning. Pretty much the whole game, to be honest with you. He's managed to reclaim this gold as well, which is all well and good for him, because this gold over here has run out. And he's managed to get map control here as well, in terms of taking the water, which means that any units from Maxi that do decide to push across these shallows to try and get into Slam's base are just going to be met with like a wall of fiery arrows from these galleons from Slam, which is quite funny. It just means that, yeah, I mean, Maxi's going to have to find another way in, and it doesn't look like there is actually another way into Slam's base. So Slam playing this one really smart, playing it really clever. Maxi saying that I believe that looks like that's something to do with Slam has water, I can't do anything. What are we gonna do? So it looks like, you know, the team on the north might be recognizing the situation and might be thinking, right, if Aramis can't actually push in here against Ink, if he can't do some real damage, then Slam, I mean, I can't do anything against Slam. I think that's what Maxi's thinking. So it looks like it might even be a lot, you know, quite heavily in favor of the team in the south now, purely because they're going to be able to take map control. They're going to be able to start getting more units out to start pushing against their opponent here. And Ink is, saying FFS, so it's quite interesting. It looks like he's getting a little bit annoyed. These British longbows are just so hard to push in against. You can see here that they've got 11 range, so they're not fully upgraded yet. They can go up to 12 once they go up to elite longbowmen, but they're just so hard to push in against because any units that you got to get in close, right? You got to get in close to these archers, to these longbows to be able to take them down. And by the time you do start to get anywhere near them, the longbows have already picked you off. Especially if they've got these meat shields of elite skirmishers in front of them like they have. Like Aramis has gone ahead and done here. But it looks like a lot of light cav are starting to come in here for the Chinese player, for the southern team, for Ink, which means he's going to be able to start taking down those is going to be able to start taking down the elite skirmishers really easily. He's asking Slam for food, which is quite funny, considering he's got 2k, but maybe that's because Slam just sent him some food. Slam, of course, going for pretty much all sort of archer kind of things, ships and all that stuff, wood, gold, that's all he needs. He can send all the food over to his ally, it doesn't matter. And Slam, in saying that, has managed to take out a lot of a lot of buildings, a castle and an archery range and a stable and stuff over here from Maxi, and this is going to be interesting because Maxi's gone ahead and got Onager here. Now, these Onagers, sure, they're going to be able to do a lot of damage to these galleons, but there are so many galleons here. That's going to be crazy. And 4 Onagers, or 5 even, not going to be able to pack the punch that they need to against these galleons from Slam. So this is going to be really interesting to see how well. This is going to be really interesting to see how well the Onager shots do actually manage to push in and do some damage against Slam's ships here. But in saying that, there's a spearhead coming into the base of Aramis here from Ink, and it looks like Ink has finally got the upper hand. This forward aggression here from Ink has worked out a lot more than the forward aggression from Maxi did against Slam. And while Aramis did manage to defend really well, initially, it doesn't look like it's going to be holding on. He's got one lone P-Tard here, which is, potentially going to do absolutely nothing. It's going to get taken down eventually, I imagine. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it looks like the spearhead coming in from Ink is going to be too strong for Aramis to be able to defend against. Whereas there is no way, absolutely no way, that Maxi is going to be able to push through this this absolute wall of galleons. And Slam moving some galleons around as well. He's going to be able to start picking off these villages on the wood line if he wants to from Maxi, which is just going to add, it's just going to be that much more irritating for Maxi to try and defend against this. And you can see that Slam's also managed to get up into the eastern side of Maxi's base here. He's going to put up a couple of stables, get some light cav raiding going in there as well, right into the heart of Maxi's economy, trying to emulate what his teammate, what Ink is doing, essentially, literally doing as we speak to Aramis here. And it looks like the team on the north certainly on the back foot. Maxi just can't do any damage, can't push in against Slam, but in saying that, he's going to give it a go. He's going to start moving in with his Onagers now, and it's going to be interesting to see how much damage these Onagers actually do. I suppose they're doing, they're laying down the fire as well. They are actually outranged by the galleons, but at this moment in time, Slam doesn't have anywhere to retreat to, so he can't use that range advantage to his advantage, I guess you could say. And these Onagers are going to be getting focused down pretty quickly by the galleons. They did a little bit of damage. They took down some of the war galleys, or the galleons even from Slam, but at the end of the day, they've all been cleaned up. They've been cleaned up pretty effectively, pretty conclusively from Slam here, and not much else to be said for the Onagers, unfortunately. They didn't do as much damage they didn't do as much damage to Slam's galleons as this Mangonel did to Slam's archers up over here earlier in the game. If you remember seeing that, which was absolutely fantastic. But it doesn't look like there's too much else coming in. A little bit of light cav raiding coming in down on the... wow, how did I miss this? Aramis chucking up some castles right outside of the base of Ink here as well, setting up a little secondary economy down here, seeing as though Ink has gone ahead and completely gutted his, his primary economy. Ink's done that, sorry. Then Aramis is like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and make a little secondary economy down here. I'm going to start taking your gold. I'm going to start sending some light cavs into your base and see how you like it. But it looks like, and if that's going to turn into like a base race situation, I think Ink is definitely in a better situation than Aramis is. Purely because at least, purely because, I was going to say it's all walled up here, but no, Ink's walls have managed to be breached. But at least Ink's got some sort of defense. He's mounting a defense back here, while simultaneously also being able to push in and completely gut Aramis's base up here on the north. And in saying that, it's a team game, which means that Slam would have to be losing as well for the team on the north to be able to push back. But it certainly doesn't look like that's going to be happening. The colors of green and grey are being slowly wiped off the face of the map, and there's the GG from the players on the team on the north. So well played, very very good game there from both teams. That was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, a couple of cheeky docks at the end from Slam, looking to get a couple of extra extra galleons out here just to put down a little bit more damage onto his opponent. But yeah, really really good game. Sort of back and forth in terms of the or sort of yeah, I guess you guys are sort of back and forth in terms of the fighting going on the west of or the east of the map, whereas on the west of the map it was pretty aggressive as well, well defended and well played and well done to all parties involved.